kidding? Just one shot?
They're not all zombies, Doug. How do you fight this thing?
Maybe we could drown it in A1 sauce.
Well, sometimes that is better. The person you put up there ain't the person that comes back.
It's a dance song to get down with. About 6 feet under. Get there.
Ooh, I love this song.
And now we come to the thrilling final episode of our radio drama.
Hello and welcome to episode 123 of the Rotten Reviews podcast. We are going to sit down and watch Coneheads from 1993, but you guys already know that because of the title above. I've been trying to get this podcast started for like the last 45 minutes, and it just seems not to be my night tonight because it's just been one technical issue after another, and some of these issues are the first time that I've ever had them, and they're such simple issues, and I don't know why they're happening. But for some reason, it's not even the mic getting muted, but it's like the actual mic source getting turned down all the way down to 10%. I'm like, I don't see any audio waves when I'm recording. This doesn't make sense. So finally, it's back up and running, and I don't know why it was doing it because nothing has changed from my normal setup. But it just seems to be that kind of night. Maybe the SNL movie Coneheads has killed me for all I know. But no, it wasn't a bad movie at all. But yeah, just some technical issues, but we're finally on the ball. We got everything running, we got everything rolling, and we're going to get right into this movie in about 2 seconds. Not exactly 2 seconds, but I want to say thank you to everyone who's been listening to the podcast, sharing, leaving the reviews, leaving the star ratings on Spotify. I appreciate it all. I do see the numbers still rising, and I do appreciate it all, and I appreciate anyone who's come over to the YouTube channel. I see the views going up on that as well, and I see a bunch of people coming out for the shorts and whatnot, and I see the subscriber count raising higher and higher. So hopefully maybe in a couple months we'll have 500 subscribers. I think we're at like 374 right now, 360, somewhere around there. But yeah, I'm posting a bunch of artwork on there. I'm posting some of my daughter's lunchbox art surprise pieces I do. For those of you that don't know, each day that she goes to school or camp or whatever, I sneak in a little drawing into her lunch pail. And I've been doing that for the last 2.5 years. So that's a lot of artwork, a lot of sketches. I don't spend a lot of time on these. Some of them are like 5, 10, 15, no more than 25 minutes roughly. But I do enjoy doing them. They're a bunch of cartoon pieces. It just allows me to switch my concepts and my art style up and, do something that she likes. And she seems to like them a lot. For the most part, they all come home and they'll all go in a scrapbook at some point in time that she can look at them when she's older and appreciate all the work her father's done for her. Just memories. But yeah, I'll be doing that. Been posting those a little bit more. I usually don't post them too often, but figured I might as well. I'm doing them anyway, so it's content. So, and maybe we'll do some art streams where I'm actually working on those because usually I sit down and do the whole week in one shot, one right after another. So maybe we'll do some art streams with that. And yeah, I got a bunch of other artwork planned out. And I got a lot of things planned out, so hopefully we will be able to fit everything in. We got some video game let's plays coming up as well. Just, still editing in the files. It's a long time consuming thing when you're editing the gameplay footage, and then you're editing the podcast, and you're doing the artwork, and you're doing all the social media posting. It's a lot of goddamn work, but it's enjoyable at least. But enough of that, so let's just get into the movie at hand. The reason why you guys are here, I don't know why, but you're here to listen to me talk about Coneheads from 1993. It's got a runtime of an hour and 28 minutes. It's a sci-fi comedy. It's got a 5.4 out of 10 on IMDb, 35% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 2 out of 5 on something called Common Sense Media. I've never heard of that one. And I think it's probably the lowest Google user rating as well. It's at 69%. The release date was July 23rd, 1993. Directed by Steve Barron. It had a box office of $21.3 million, and it's distributed by Paramount Pictures, and it's also based on the Saturday Night Live Coneheads sketch by Lorne Michaels. This movie's got a giant cast of SNL alumni, of course, jam-packed with cameos, and I love and appreciate them all. There's some of them I don't even remember. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I've watched this movie maybe twice in my life, 3 times now, count this one. I watched it twice as a kid when I was younger, and that's about it. Other than that, I don't have any memories of this. I don't even really have memories of the SNL skit, to be honest with you. It's one of those skits that never really, caught my attention. But yes, Steve Barron was I believe the director, I believe I said. He's also a writer and producer. He's also known for the director for the Teenage Mutant... Ooh, that was a tongue twister. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990 movie. That's the only one I'm going to talk about because, why not? It's the best one. There's nothing else you need to talk about. It's Ninja Turtles. So we'll just leave it at that. But honestly, I don't know why it was so hard to say that. I like Ninja Turtles, and I talk about them a lot, so I don't know why that was so hard to get out. But anyway, some trivia. Dan Aykroyd took his daughter, Danielle, to see the filming being made, or the filming being done, film being made. I can't talk English like always. She was so fascinated by the Conehead costumes that she asked for one of her own. She was then cast as Connie at age 3 so she could be in the movie and have her own cone. So she's in that little quick montage of watching Connie grow up. Then apparently there's a goof when they show the footage of 3-year-old Connie on the beach. You can clearly see the line on the Conehead cap peeling right off because she's out having fun and whatnot. But a quick synopsis of this movie: Conehead extraterrestrials Belder, Dan Aykroyd, and Primat, which I'm never going to say that name ever again, Jane Curtin, find themselves in New Jersey after a recon mission for their home planet of Remlock goes awry. I probably butchered that name as well. Stranded, they are forced to live as typical suburban humans. Belder gets a job, various jobs actually, and daughter Connie, played by Michelle Burke, grows up to be a typical, if oddly shaped teenager when INS agents start investigating the family. The Belder receives sinister orders from Remlock. The Coneheads must decide where their allegiance lies. But yeah, some of the people in this movie, of course, are like Dan Aykroyd. You got Sinbad. You got Phil Hartman. You got Adam Sandler for a bit. You got David Spade for a bit. Michael McKean. You got, I know there's more that are kind of just off the top of my head. Eddie Griffin's in there for a while. There's more. Chris Farley's in there. You got Ellen DeGeneres in there. I'm not looking at the cast list. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head because I literally just watched this movie like an hour and a half ago. But yeah, we're just going to get right into the movie.
And now, preview time. When it comes to entertainment, you can't beat a good film. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The following program is brought to you in living color.
Saturday Night at the Movies, the television series which each week brings you the finest in recent motion pictures.
They have come from the cold, far reaches of space
Roger, TACOM.
Unidentified aircraft.
to conquer our world
Request permission to fire.
and to enslave our people forevermore.
He's disappeared.
That is, until the Balthark hit the spinning Crinor.
Greetings. I seek out techno-industrial complex where I might obtain 2 or 3 semnuts of platinum paste.
This time of night, huh?
This is the story of 2 aliens, Beldar and Primat.
Scrap George. I have 3 radiated leftover starch discs.
Ah, pizza. I will enjoy it.
Do not sear the top of your neck hole.
For them, it was a chance to build a new dream.
Where are you from?
From France. I come from France.
It was a chance to settle into the neighborhood, make a home for themselves,
We will ignite our new flame pit and char some mammal flesh for you.
and start a new family.
I am with cold.
You? I've a young one?
But they never lost their appetite for life,
Wow! My mom's the only other woman I've ever known who could make a sandwich like that.
or their passion for each other.
Let us suppose for some reason my life function ceased. What would you do?
I would incinerate your carcass in the tradition of Obadiah the Obtuse and put it in a clean, dry place.
Paramount Pictures proudly presents a motion picture
These are great seats.
that's heads above the rest. Dan Aykroyd,
It is as if you have seized me at the base of my snarklies.
Jane Curtin,
Tang, the drink the astronauts took to the moon.
Astronauts to the moon.
Coneheads.
Are they from another planet?
If they're not, we should nuke France right away.
It starts out a Paramount picture. The intro credits start to roll as we see the spaceship moving through space. And I'm going to try and tell the characters by their names, but sometimes it might slip up and I might do my usual Aykroyd or whatnot. But for the most part, it's going to be Beldar or the wife, essentially. Then we have a shot that moves into the space station as this guy's in the control room. Instead of watching the radar that's flashing behind him, he's actually watching an episode of Star Trek. I should be as smart and be able to tell you which exact episode it is. It's just, Cap Kirk fighting the lizard monster. I'm not a big Star Trek fan, so I don't know exactly what episode that is. You can kill me in the comments later, but I appreciate if you guys wait. I appreciate if you guys can get through the episode first. Also, this review or this podcast is going to be full of spoilers from start to beginning. Start to beginning. Wow, that's really good English, Brian. You're so intelligent. From start to finish. That's what I meant to say. So if you guys don't want to be spoiled in a movie that came out in 1993, which... if it's a spoiler, sorry. You should pause it now and go find somewhere to stream it. I'm not sure where it's actually streaming at all. I own it on VHS. I'm a nerd. But that's besides the point. So yeah, pause it and then come back. It's up to you guys. But anyways, they find the warning signs going off, and he finally looks at the radar, and then something's coming in fast from 500 miles away, and then we see some fighter jets trying to catch up to it, but the spaceship's just a little bit too fast for them. Then the jet fires and hits the ship, and it's disappears and crashes into the water where a couple are making out on like a bench on the beach. And then we see the Coneheads standing outside of a trashy motel. I think it says like no vacancies on the sign, but they still go in anyways. And then we see Beldar, Aykroyd, going into the motel where he wakes up the clerk who's sleeping, who's actually Kramer from Seinfeld. Kramer looks really confused because it's a giant Conehead alien looking at you. Beldar says he's looking for a walking or whacking device, and then Kramer says he's new to the area. He's not really sure, but if you go ask the gay guy, he probably knows. Then Beldar's wife is outside looking at the Pepsi machine, and she points her head down at it, and electricity comes out of it, and then all the coins come out, and she walks in with all the coins, and she's like, here's these metallics, I think circular discs. And inside the motel room, we see Beldar eating a bar of soap, and then he starts eating the whole roll of toilet paper because he doesn't know what to eat because he's an alien. Apparently they don't. Oh, maybe they eat toilet paper and soap for all I fucking know. I got no idea. Beldar has a plan to blend in with what he calls, I think the human race is blood skulls. I could be wrong on that one, because the evil overlord wants them to infiltrate the Earth and pretty much come up with a plan to take it over, essentially, because they were on a recon mission before they got shot down. Then we see Sinbad in a store, and I guess Beldar is working for him as a repairman. I didn't get the title of the store or see the outside of it. I know it pops up quickly, but I didn't get it in time. Sinbad's name is Otto, and I'm pretty sure he's running like a used electronics store or maybe like a pawn shop because Beldar is his repairman. Otto then sends Beldar for his lunch, and we find out they're living in a trailer behind the shop that Otto owns. And the whole time Beldar is working for Otto, he's been taking pieces to make for his equipment to contact the mothership, essentially, to get back in touch with the overlord and whatnot. It's pretty much an intergalactic CB radio, essentially. Also for lunch, Beldar was eating, I think, pizza that looked like it had pencil shavings on top of it. I think she was putting some pencil shavings on top of it. I could be wrong, but apparently it's really hot, and I think he drinks some like milk or Windex. They get the radio working and communicate with, I think, Marlax, who is played by Phil Hartman, who feels worried for them once the overlord finds out they failed the recon mission because now they're stuck on Earth, and then they have to wait 7 Xeons for the rescue ship, which I don't know how long that is. It sounds like it's clearly years because they have a daughter in the process, and then she's like 16 probably by the time, or older, I guess. I don't know. Age isn't a good thing for me to guess. Let me find out the news. Beldar's wife lets him know for the very first time she's expecting a child. He kind of freaks out just a little bit. Then we cut to scenes Beldar getting his pay from Otto, and Otto reminds him that he needs a SIN number, and so he's like, yeah, you need that, huh? I keep forgetting. Sorry. And he's like, well, I need to do it for taxes and whatnot so I don't get my ass, chewed up by the government. And he starts giving him a fake number. He's like, that's not right. He's like, yeah, so I'm a legal alien. Could have never guessed by the cone on your head. And the sharp fangs that you have as well. Not even fangs, they're all your teeth are sharp. Then we cut to Otto and Beldar in this restaurant where we see Adam Sandler giving Beldar a fake name and ID and SIN numbers so Sinbad can have him working for him legally. Keeley. Then we see, it's like Chino or something stupid like that. And then we see Otto driving them home, and Belder's almost like snuggling up to him. He's like, you know what? I need my space. Can you just like get over on your side of the seat? I very much appreciate that. And then Otto's like, well, you know, if you're gonna have kids and whatnot, you gotta get your life together, and maybe, you know, get a hat, cover up that head, maybe get your teeth fixed a little bit. And then the whole time Belder's been chewing gum, and Otto's like, hey, you got any gum left? He's like, yeah, of course. Goes to give him a piece of gum. It's actually a condom, which is really fucking weird, but that's SNL for you. And Otto's like, you know what? I really shouldn't chew and drive at the same time. Probably cause some issues, and I don't want to cause any issues on the road. Then we see David Spade in what we can only assume is the immigration office, as two Mexicans are trying to speak to him. He's like, yeah, I can't really understand you right now. Can you just step back a little bit? We'll get your issue solved later, okay? And then he goes into a supervisor's office where they see a diagram of the border, and they're in New Jersey though, so I don't know why they're worrying about the border. Anyways, that's besides the point. But yeah, they're worried about the border crossing and people getting in, and they have it set up so if you try to cross the fence or the border, you get electrocuted or burnt alive, one of the two, or electrocuted till you get burnt alive. Spade gives his boss the paper because we see the name Sandler gave Belder. It's the same name that's been used to give 10 other people, I believe, and they're on the hunt down to find this person because like one was Mexican, one was Canadian, one was this, one was that, blah blah blah. Jump cut to Belder sitting in a dentist chair, and we see Lovett as the dentist looking at his mouth, and he's very worried and concerned. He's like, oh, so you want your teeth capped, huh? I guess we'll start back here on this third row because they have like multiple rows of teeth. He's like, open wide, and he opens his mouth even wider and wider, and you see different rows of teeth. He's like, okay, I'm just gonna give you the gas and put you out, and we're gonna fix your teeth up. And he goes to put the mask on his nose, but his mouth is too big, so he just rams the mask into Belder's mouth, and then we just see him slowly passing out. Then we cut to Belder and his wife sleeping upright, because that's how they do it, with their bed and everything upright as well. And they're woken by sirens, and police are hitting Otto's shop, and then they go to the camper trailer behind, and Belder breaks through a wall, like crushing one of the police officers, and they take off running down the street, and they can't catch up to him. Then we see Spade and the other officers looking around the chair, and they find any evidence. He's just like, nah, just this Mardi Gras outfit and some weird writing. That's about it. And then we cut to Drew Carey getting into a taxi cab, and it's actually Belder driving now, and now he's a taxi cab with the whole Muslim head wrap and everything on, which looks weird because it looks like a bird's nest with an egg poking up at top, but that's besides the point. We then see Belder getting home later in that day, and they're living in like this ghetto area and like a basement area as well, and his wife's like, the impending cone is soon to come, so saying, you know, gonna give birth soon. And then the landlord knocks on the door, who's also the owner of the taxi cab company. He's like, I need you to pick up another shift, and we come to find out it's his third time picking up a triple shift, and the wife's not really too happy about it. She's like, you know, it's not good for you to be working so much. You need to be home. We need to find a new home for the child and whatnot. And then this big giant gush of water comes out and fills the whole fucking basement. And then she's like, oh shit, it's on now. And then we see Otto and the landlord. They're in hospital gowns. So they're getting ready to be there when the child gives birth. Then we see the whole room starting to shake as the wife is holding on to Belder's hand, and we hear the bones just breaking inside of his hand, and she's telling him how much she loves him. No, she's telling him how much she fucking hates his gut for doing this to her. Typical thing. You know, you parents all get to look forward to it. But yeah, then the baby's born, and then the doctor looks over at Belder, and he's like, would you like to cut the umbilical cord? And he just pulls his face mask down. He's like, yeah. And he bites it. He doesn't use scissors or a knife. He bites it. Nasty. I know some people might do it. I don't think they would actually, but you know, if you're weird, I guess. I got nothing. I don't want to make anyone feel bad listening to the podcast. If you're that kind of special, we accept everyone here. Okay, we do. And then we cut to the immigration office, where they're working with the computer tech expert who's trying to design the mugshot for what the head honcho saw. Then we see the immigrations officer doing a stakeout in front of the Coneheads' house where they're living in the ghetto area. They see a taxi showing up, so they get ready to jump it because they think it's Beldar and whatnot. And it's actually just a landlord who's coming home. And he's like, Beldar has moved out weeks ago. He hasn't lived here at all. You guys are way too late behind. Then the lead immigrants officer gets word that he got a raise, so then he's like, oh, sweet, this problem is someone else's problem now because I'm a head honcho now. You guys, I'm not dealing with this. This is a small chump change. This is someone else's problem. Good luck. And then he just literally leaves the case and it's like, yeah, I'm done. Then we cut to the family funny montage video of the Coneheads moving into their new home, starting to raise their kid, playing on the beach and whatnot, just having fun. And then we cut to Belder getting the paper off the front lawn as his wife is making a large order of waffles, bacon, Pop-Tarts, and all these other various things. And then we see the daughter coming downstairs, Connie. She's a teenager now. Belder's a little bit unhappy because she's just going into the fridge to get some juice, and he sees a fake tattoo, which he thought was a real tattoo on the side of her head. And she's like, no, it's just a fake tattoo, Dad. Don't worry about it. He's like, well, you know what? You got too much makeup and stuff on. You go clean your face up. You don't need to be altering your face and your look. You go. Shoo. Typical, dad being depressed and worried that their daughter's growing up too soon, which I'll probably hit that stage at some point in time. I'm not looking forward to it. And then outside, we see the neighbor and his wife outside doing some gardening, and the neighbor, Larry, who's played by Jason Alexander, can't get his lawnmower to start, and he's like, I should have got one with the electric one. I don't know why I tried to do gas. I don't know anything about these. Belder takes out the spark plug because Belder's leaving the house at the same time with his wife, and I think Connie maybe too. I'm not sure. But the two wives are talking, and Larry's like, hey, you know a lot about engines and stuff. Can you look at my lawnmower for me, buddy? I appreciate that if you did. But yeah, Belder takes the spark plug out, starts like sucking on it and moving it around his mouth, and then he puts it out and he goes to blow on it, and Larry's gonna hold his toupee down because he doesn't want to lose his hair. He's like, yeah, this is good hair. I don't want to lose this. And then the lawnmower starts, no problem. And then we cut to Belder picking up his daughter and her two friends. They're going shopping and they're listening to some pop music or something. I don't know what it was. But they're also, while they're shopping, they also drop the car off at some point in time to get alignment, and they go to pick the car back up where they're met by Ronnie, the repairman, the mechanic, who's played by none other than Chris Farley. And he's like, sorry man, your car's not ready yet, fell behind, got a bunch of other cars coming in, bunch of other workload. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. We'll get to it once we get to it, so if you could just take your ass over there and sit in those seats, I will let you know when your car is done. He's like, well, you got me by my danglies, so I guess I can't do anything else but other than sit in your waiting room then. Then the daughter goes over to talk to Ronnie, Farley's character, after her dad and the other two girls walk away. She's like, well, it's taking you so long to fix, such a simple lineup. And he's like, be honest with you, I just sat back having a beer and I didn't really care about your dad's car. So I'm just going to go have another beer probably and just disappear for a bit, and then we'll get your car fixed at some point. Then we see Spade and his superior in a meeting with the Senate. I could be wrong, but they're going over this the Chico case that he's in trouble for because he spent so much money trying to solve this case, and that's a case that he was on with Belder because that's the name that Belder's got now. But he's just like, I want to drop that case. But now it's an unfinished case, so they're like, you can't really be working head up if you're not really finishing your cases now. Do you understand what we're putting down here? So technically, you gotta go finish that case if you want to have the higher up job. So then Spade and the other guy decide to reopen the case because they got nothing else to do but to try and solve that case if they want to get higher up on the food chain. Then we see the daughter sitting down for lunch at Subway with Ronnie, who is shocked and excited about how fast she is because they get a good sized sub, and she just Hoover vacuums that thing right in her face. Doesn't chew. Does just straight in. He's like excited. He's like, I haven't seen anyone eat like that in a long time since my mother. And she's like, are you gonna eat that? And it hits his sub, and it's Chris Farley. He's a big boy, and he's like, no, you can have it. I'll watch you eat. I'm weird like that. And then we see the neighbor, Larry's wife, and the Coneheads' wife, Pater or whatever her name was, Primat I think was the name. They're shopping together, and all that Primat has in her cart is a bunch of fucking light bulbs, and I don't understand why. There's just boxes and boxes and boxes of light bulbs and nothing else. And then she gets really excited at the sight of an eggplant, which I took the wrong way, but it's probably insinuated that way anyways. The neighbor's telling the wife also is like, you gotta keep an eye because your husband's, he's been doing driving instructions with the same girl like almost every day, and guys are pigs, so he's probably sleeping with her, just letting you know. Then we cut to Belder in the car giving the girl lessons, even though he's not really giving her a lesson. I'm not even sure how the fuck he got the job in the first place, because she's running over every single pylon that's set out on this course or on this construction site. I don't know where they're driving. And then they stop the car, and Gladys is the girl's name. She starts kissing him, and he's like, you know what, you gotta stop. Nothing's gonna happen. I know I'm your teacher, and you want to do me because I'm the teacher status, but nothing's gonna happen. But I will let you know once my people come to take over Earth. We'll give you a pass, and we'll let you survive, and you can, go live your life doing something in alien format. Then we see Ronnie bringing the daughter back home, and he goes to make out with her, and she doesn't want to, so she starts to, feel like something's wrong, or she tells him, no, and he's like, well, what is it? Every time I bring you home, home. You never want to make out, you never want to kiss me, so this is something with me. And that's when she expresses that her family grew up not showing love and affection, so she's not sure how to handle it and how to deal with it. And then he goes to, like, they go to kiss each other because she's never really kissed, and it looks like she's sucking his soul through his throat. And then he's all excited and he gets ready to touch her cone and stuff, which is weird. And then she gets, annoyed again, and she pushes him off and goes inside. And then we see the mom inside vacuuming as Beldor is sitting down reading the paper, and she's vacuuming, but she's got the hose and the vacuum on the bottom, and the hose is attached to her mouth, and she's sucking all the dirt and shit in. Kind of gross, but it's aliens, I guess. And then she talks to her mom, saying, how right, guys are pigs. And then Beldor hears the conversation that she's having with Connie, and he gets all pissed off. He goes outside, and Ronnie's trying to drive away, but Beldor's holding the car down. And Ronnie's like, hi, Mr. Conehead. And then Beldor says to peel the top of the roof of the car off, and pretty much tells him, if you come back here, I'm going to kill you, essentially. And then peels the top back down, and Ronnie drives off on his own. And then Connie, of course, typical daughter, gets upset because her dad stepped in between her and her boyfriend and is pushing her boyfriend away. So then the mom tries to fix the situation. Then Connie asks her mom about cone, and that's essentially their sexual aspect of the species, and honing or coning or something along those lines. I don't know, it was really kind of weird. We then cut to Beldor and Larry playing some golf together, where Larry's trying to push on his hair specials onto Beldor. He's like, you could fix up your head and make it look really, really nice. See this hair? It looks real, doesn't it? It's really nice. And of course, Ronnie's at the same golf club. He's actually like the caddy for this other character, who's actually played by Tom Arnold, who comes over, and Ronnie's like, I'm really sorry Connie won't get back to my phone calls or anything, and I really feel horrible. I just want to talk to her, because he's trying to express his feelings. And that's when Tom Arnold gets annoyed, because he's like, hey, you're supposed to be helping me and carrying my golf clubs. He's like, what's up with the cone? Conehead. Stupid Tom Arnold. We cut to see Connie at this like swim dive competition meet, and of course her coach of all people is Ellen DeGeneres, which I thought was interesting, little cameo. And then Ronnie's there trying to tell her how happy he is for her and how well she did, and she's pretty much just ignoring him. Then we cut to the football homecoming game, where Connie is a cheerleader, and Ronnie goes to talk to her again. This time she finally talks to him, and they seem to be on okay terms now at this point in time. We then see Beldor setting off this little small firework, and like one of the guards is like, that's it, that's pretty phony, and everyone starts laughing in the crowd. Then he puts on his sunglasses, and then this big giant spark goes off, and everyone in the area actually has like a windburn on their face from the explosion of how bright it was. Then we see the Coneheads in bed together, and the wife is wondering if Beldor is happy with her, and that she asks, if I die, would you go find someone else? And then we see the immigration officers on a boat telling another boat of refugees, don't come in here, we got enough issues of our own, please go back to where you came from. I don't care if you guys are going to die. We just got enough issues and shit to deal with on our own, so can you please go away, please? And then Spade calls the head officer to say, hey, we found them. We finally found them. All this time, we finally found them. Then we see the mom in a shopping center, and she's feeling insecure about herself, so she starts grabbing a bunch of women's magazines. And then we see Beldor in a locker room where two guys are wondering what he's wearing for a Halloween party. He refuses to tell them, and then he goes in the shower, and it looks really fucking weird. I'm not even going to explain that. Anyways, we see him getting home, and the lights are all dim, and then the candles are lit fucking everywhere. If one of these candles fall over, this whole home is going up in flames, and they're going to lose everything. But anyways, we see the wife on the couch, and he's all shocked and not sure what to do, but we can tell it's going to get, happy, joy time. Then we see Spade in the van with the headphones on listening, and it just feels like, a bunch of cats making sounds and screaming, and it's them making love. Then we see the immigration officers knocking on the door, and Beldor answers the door looking like Abe Lincoln, and then they ask to come in, they sit down on the couch, and that's when the wife hears the other phone ringing upstairs as she's bringing packs of Pepsi for them to all share and drink. And then she's like, comes down, and she's like, so you got a phone call, honey? He's like, I'll take it later. He's like, no, it's the big phone. And that's when Beldor freaks out and picks him up and literally just throws him, good for you guys to come over, we'll talk later, bye. And then we cut to the Halloween party, where we see Connie and Ronnie dancing together, and then Beldor pulls his daughter off to the side to tell her that the rescue vehicle is coming tonight, but Connie doesn't really want to leave her because she's in love with Ronnie, which Beldor hates the thought and concept of, because he kind of just looks off into space with dead eyes and just kind of does a whimpering, I'm dying kind of scream. Connie tells Ronnie she has to talk to him alone. He gets all excited because he thinks he's going to get laid. Then we see Beldor winning the big award for the Halloween party, which which he's apparently never done. Apparently it's something Larry's done each year. That's a callback to earlier in the movie. But then we see Ronnie and Connie sitting at home on the couch together, and she goes to tell him that she's not like everyone else. And then the music starts to pick up, and he's like, I know, that's why I like you so much. Then Belder and the wife come home because they're pissed off because Connie just left the party, and they find them using sensory rings, and they're all sweaty and holding hands together. And then I'm not sure if that's like the lovemaking process or not, but then we see the INS showing up around the house and saying they're surrounded. And then we see a bike breaking through the garage door, and the cops chase after it, and it's actually, we couldn't see who was riding the bike. It just looks like one person was in the sidecar as well, and it's actually Ronnie trying to help out the family to escape, and he gets caught and gets arrested, of course. And then we see the family leaving the garage in their car, but of course the road's all blocked. And then we see the spaceship coming in, and the Coneheads car getting picked up into the sky, and that's when the immigration officer jumps onto the bumpers like, you're not getting away this time. And then David Spade grabs onto his leg as well, and they all go up in the spaceship together. That's when we then see them in the spaceship, but now the two immigration officers, Spade and another guy, are in their like white tank tops and their boxers, and they're inside these like glass holding shells with liquid, because they're pretty much prisoners now because they're, you know, human race test subject. And that's when we see them all going down for a sleep, but Beldar wakes up and he's looking out the front window, and that's when he sees his home planet coming into view, and he gets all excited. And then we see some sort of ceremony going on where a guy gets dragged away, and Beldor goes up to talk to the leader and is wondering what gifts he brought from his recon mission. And that's when he talks about the two immigration officers and their boxers that now have dog collars on that can do whatever the dog collars want. And then he's like, well, I also bought you a tire iron, and I also bought you this chewing gum, aka a condom, which they don't actually know is a condom. And then the leader notices Beldor changed his teeth up, and he claims that's a traitor aspect of what he did, and now he's got to be sentenced to death. Essentially, he's getting sentenced to this pit to battle a monster with a bunch of other people that all take turns, and they all usually die one by one. We see this battle area set up, and they're getting some guys up against the Garfar monster, and Beldor's in the group, of course. And then it becomes his turn because, you know, why not? He's walking around all scared in the fighting area, and he gets a lucky shot on the monster, and then Beldor starts singing to distract the monster, I guess. And then he uses his weapon as like a golf club, and he kicks a rock into the monster's mouth and actually kills the monster slowly, and then he's like the first one ever to survive. Then the leader spares him his life, and Beldor has one wish: to return to Earth to, of course, take it over, and he wants to take both the hostages back as well. And then he's like, no, you can only take one. So then Spade gets left on the alien ship, and he's all fine with it. He's like, yeah, I'll just kiss up to this Emperor guy, and then I'll be safe. No one's gonna come after me now, because he's a kiss ass to the superior that in the immigration office anyway, so he's gonna be a kiss ass here as well. Then we see a fleet of ships coming into the Earth's atmosphere, and this time they're actually landing. The Coneheads are actually getting to land. They're actually not getting shot out of the sky. So I'm not sure what's the difference between the beginning of the movie and now. Apparently the radars, maybe they got the cloaking actually mechanism on. Anyways, the Coneheads land on their Earth, and then they're like calling up to the other ships, dangerous, saying how there's lasers blast and whatnot, and that they have to retreat. And then all the other ships do get scared and actually do start retreating, and that's when Beldor says to his daughter, you know, your happiness on Earth is enough for me, you know, to live on Earth and make everything worth it. And then he sends his ship up into the air and does the self-destruction or timing code or whatever it is, and the ship blows up, and then all the other spaceships up in the sky actually think that they all died because they're like, oh, no sign of life now. Their ship blew up. They're dead. Then Beldor makes a deal with the immigration officer saying he will take the dog collar off in exchange for a green card and be left alone. And they agree on the deal, of course. And then we see Ronnie showing up in a blue suit later on to take Connie maybe to the prom or just out for the night. I'm not really too sure. And Beldor pulls him off to the side. He's like, you know what? You gotta be back at a certain time, but I'm also going to give you my car to take out my daughter because it's a lot better than your shit box. They also go to take a picture of the happy family moment, and of course this camera is such a big weird contraption, and once it flickers it's so bright and it flashes into Ronnie's face to the point that he's got like this checkerboard formation on his face now, and his hair's all from backwards because of how bright the light is. And then we see Beldor and his wife on the porch looking as they're walking away at this giant Polaroid that came out of the camera, and then the movie ends. And yeah, it's my first time watching it in a long time. I thought it was pretty fun. I love all the cameos. There's a great amount of actors in it. I wish some of them had a little bit longer periods. I like Lovitz as the dentist. I thought that was pretty funny, and Spade being a full-on run-on like secondary character is really good. But yeah, a fun movie. Not great, but for me I would give it a 7 out of 10 on the Rotten View scale. I wouldn't watch it again. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I know as a kid I didn't like it at all. I really didn't. I don't know why. Maybe I just didn't care for the character or the concept or the look of the character. I'm not a big fan of the Conehead actual style character, but the whole movie as a whole is great. And my love for Chris Farley, I liked him a lot. He's a great actor and sadly gone way too soon. So seeing him as like a secondary character as well and not being like a serious comedy guy is very fun to watch. And yeah, brings me back to good memories of SNL when I thought it was really at its peak and beforehand. So yeah, that's a fun movie and I definitely highly recommend it. Like I said, I own a VHS, so I don't know where you guys are going to watch it. But yeah, this was the second part of our Alien month. So next we're going to do another Alien movie, of course. And this is a movie I know I've never seen and I'm looking forward to watching it. I own a digital copy of it. We're going to watch a movie that has Adam Sandler, I think Damon Wayans, and damn, I'm fucking blanking on the last one. This is good. This I don't know why I forgot the name, but it's Jeff Goldblum, you know, from The Fly and Jurassic Park. You know, this movie is from 1988 for an hour and 40 minutes, PG movie, and it's called Earth Girls Are Easy. I've never seen it before, so I'm looking forward to watching it, and hopefully it lives up to the hype because it's got a great cast of actors as well. And I'm definitely looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys will check it out as well. I'm sure it's streaming somewhere, probably Tubi or something like that, or maybe even on YouTube. It probably is there as well. But yeah, definitely check that out if you guys can. If not, just check out the episode next week and hear me talk about and, you know, pronounce things wrong all the time like I always do. Yeah, that's something I do. As always, you can check me out on all social medias at Typhonstein. Check out the YouTube page. That's where I'm posting all my artwork. We got the full episodes of the podcast going up at later dates, and we got YouTube shorts going up. We're gonna have gameplay playthroughs going up and art live streams at some point in time, and maybe we'll do the live streams on Twitch as well. I'm not too sure yet. I'm not worried about the live streams. I'm just doing the pre-recording stuff now. But that's for something for the future, of course. Check out my Instagram as well and Facebook page. Those are the main two sites where I post an artwork, but YouTube being the main thing because I am posting there a lot. And yeah, make sure you use the hashtag Rotten Reviews Podcast or contact me via the Rotten Reviews Gmail account. Links will be down all below as well to check all that stuff out. Suggest me a movie to watch or let me know how you like the podcast. Let me know anything. Let me know how your day is going. I love to hear from you guys, and I do appreciate everything that you guys do. Make sure to leave a review if you can. Leave some comments, and feel free to hit that share button. Every little bit you guys do does help me out a lot, and I do appreciate it a lot. But yeah, sharing the podcast a lot does help, and obviously, you know, leaving the Apple reviews and leaving the stars on Spotify does mean a lot, and it does help me get up a little bit higher in the podcast charts. I'm not going to be number one by any means, but you know, being top 100 is cool, or whatever it is. I don't know. But yeah, and make sure to check out the outro band Blood Opera. Their links will be down below as well. You can find them on YouTube,
SoundCloud, Instagram, Spotify, all those fun things. And I will talk to you guys all later. Peace.